The anime tells about Shibata Genzo, a professional wrestler. In a stadium, the host announces the match for the World Championship title between Animal Max and Macadamian Ogre, also known as Mao, will start soon. Genzo is preparing for the fight in his room and hopes to win to complete the first chapter of his life, and then start the second chapter. His manager Big Saigo enters, but Genzo asks him to not interrupt him. Big Saigo asks what he will do after reaching this height of becoming the champion and is guessing he will move to other fighting sports. Genzo continues his monologue and says that his second chapter will be about he living with the animals he loves and opening a pet shop, and then heads towards the ring. On the ring, he starts fighting Mao and eventually gets on the top rope. As he jumps, along with his pet Haruki, he disappears and gets teleported to a different time and place. There, he wonders if this is a trick from Big Saigo, but meets Princess Altena Elgard Radis, who refers to him as hero and asks him to help them defeat the evil beast and the demon king. Hearing that, he gets behind her, grabs her, and does a suplex, knocking her out. The guards turn against him. He realizes he may have gone too far and covers the princess with his cape, but that annoys the guards even more and he is forced to escape from them. Walking in town, he wants to ask where he is, but people run away from him. He realizes it must be due to wearing a mask and he removes it, but the crowd starts calling him a pervert as he only wears his boxers. As he walks around, he still isn't able to figure anything and tells Haruki he will find him food for the night. He gets approached by Misha and Wolfgang, who intend to sell Haruki. As Genzo sees Misha, he gets excited that she has animal ears, but then sees Wolfgang and gets even more excited. Seeing his scary, excited face, they try to leave, but Genzo tackles Wolfgang and starts rubbing his face in his chest and sniffing it. They aren't able to remove him from Wolfgang, and as he keeps rubbing and scratching his chest, felt so good that was defeated. Genzo then turns towards Misha, but in that moment hears a girl crying and not wanting to be sold, but is willing if they are going to feed her. As he looks, he sees she has wolf ears and gets really excited. He faces Edgar, the one who is about to sell Shigure, and Misha warns him that Genzo is a pervert. Genzo explains he isn't a pervert and that he is just a man who loves animals. Not knowing Edgar's intention of bringing Shigure, he thinks Edgar is a bad person for making the wolf girl cry. Genzo goes to Edgar and slams him. Misha and Wolfgang help him get up and start leaving. Seeing her go, Genzo realizes he didn't pet Misha and heads her way. But as Shigure thanks him, he stops and goes to talk to her. He thinks she is going to be sold as a slave, but Shigure explains it is due to her borrowing money from him and not returning it, and she made an agreement with him to sell her if she doesn't return the money. Shigure takes Genzo to a hunter guild so they can make some money. As he meets the master of the guild, Genzo explains how much he loves animals. The master wonders what to do, but then receives news of Cerberuses attacking, and hearing that, Genzo gets excited and goes to see them. As they reach the Cerberuses, Genzo sees their 3 heads and gets happy. He then charges them and pins him. He starts playing with them and manages to tame them. 2 guild members are shocked to see Genzo, who managed to master the beast empty-handed. Back at the guild, they receive a good reward for the Cerberuses. Shigure then uses the money to buy him clothes and pay the rent for their inn. As Shigure asks him what he will do, Genzo tells her that he wants to make people understand how good the demon beasts are and that they can understand each other. Genzo goes on to explain how he will make everyone befriend demon beasts. However, he hears people around him complaining about the monster's attack and intends to take revenge. Genzo says he will open a pet shop, although Shigure thinks it is a good idea. She actually doesn't know what he means. Genzo explains that he will raise the demon beasts and train them so they can live with humans. Shigure is a bit skeptical, but hearing that he will be taking on quests related to beasts to receive the reward, she gets interested and decides to help him. Genzo is wondering what quest to take on and sees a book that contains beast information. A fellow member explains that the book contains information about demon beasts and how to defeat them, and says that Genzo won't need the information because of his action of defeating Cerberuses the other day, and he earns the nickname Demon Beast Killer. Genzo gets angry and punches him, as he is an animal wrestler, not a beast killer.
賞金が一番高いのはどれだ？魔獣の生態がかかる。今私のことを大番になってるぜ。これは？そりゃ魔獣殺し。
Since Genzo needs money quickly to get a pet shop, they choose the biggest reward quest of defeating a salamander. Keijiru, the guild's strongest man, offers to join his party and they could split the reward as they kill the salamander. Hearing that, Genzo grabs him and slams him into the wall, telling him to never say something stupid like that again. Before going out, Shigure sees Keijiru's sword on the ground and pretends that someone must have forgotten it and it's now hers. Genzo and Shigure go for the salamander, and he quickly makes friends with him, calling him Yoshiko. He returns to the guild while carrying Yoshiko to claim the reward, and the guy at the desk, seeing him finish the quest, comments it wasn't for nothing that he was called Demon Beast Killer, but gets quickly punched by Genzo, telling him to not call him that. Elsewhere, Misha wants to go out and do something bad, but Wolfgang, remembering what Genzo did to him, decides it will be better for them to stay inside. At that moment, Genzo and Shigure enter, scaring Wolfgang. Shigure wants to meet Edgar to pay her debt, but since he is away, she leaves the monthly pay to Misha. At a castle, Hanako is looking at a magazine and the deserts it is featured. She is then called for dinner, where she is annoyed the meal is again goblin, troll, and orc meat, as she wants to eat some more delicious food. The next day, Genzo and Shigure head to the forest to complete a quest to conquer some soldier monkeys. As they meet them, Genzo manages to tame them with some apples. As he has already gathered lots of demon beasts, Genzo thinks of finding a safe place for them so that they won't be stolen. They then go to take on a new quest, and the highest paying one is about orcs. Seeing they are not animals, Genzo isn't excited, but since they are paid a lot, he agrees to do it. On the way, they encounter a unicorn, which Genzo names Mommy. As they almost reach the orcs' village, Genzo tells Shigure to wait outside the village and decides to face them alone. Entering their village, he challenges the orc king and dropkicks him from the start. Even though he is hit several times, Genzo is not injured in the slightest. He uses his wrestling skills and manages to defeat the orc king. As the king is defeated, the other orcs announce him as the new king. On the next morning, he shakes hands with the orc king, admits his prowess, and leaves the orc king in charge. He goes on to tell the orcs to stay loyal to the king. Genzo and Shigure return to the guild and get enough money to buy a place to live. However, as he wants to run a business, he goes to get a loan from the government, but is shocked to learn that he needs to have 20 of the sum. In the meantime, Hanako has escaped her castle and is now drooling on a candy shop window. Genzo and Shigure now have a house, but it is full of cases and animals. She complains they don't have any more room, but Genzo tells her that's the sacrifice they need to make until the animals find their new master who will treat them. Since it is expensive to pay for all of the food, Shigure goes to sell some swords and look at the quest board for some high-paying quests. Genzo hears Hiroyuki barking, and as he checks in the bushes, he finds a girl, Hanako, passed out due to hunger. As she wakes up, she wonders where she is, and Genzo offers her some fish. She is surprised he isn't scared of her horns and introduces herself and says that she is half dragon. As she's about to eat, she takes Hiroyuki, but Genzo tells her he isn't the food, but the fish. As she eats the fish in an instant, she sees all the animals, and Genzo explains he is trying to start a pet shop, which she thinks is a restaurant as the salamander looks quite delicious to her. He then explains what a pet shop is, and she asks what demon beast Hiroyuki is. Genzo says he is a mongrel, and Hanako asks if she could have it. She will love him and feed him, and as he gets big, she will eat him. Seeing her getting excited, Genzo quickly takes Hiroyuki back. Genzo then opens the book with the beasts and asks her to read about the half-dragons. She quickly closes the book and leaves, saying she has something to do. Shigure then returns and smells a dragon. She scolds Genzo that he must have brought a dragon even though they are basically broke. He tells her some half-dragon was there and he just gave her some food. Shigure then takes Genzo to see the guild master to discuss a new high-paying quest. A guild member says a demon beast attacks people at night. The man then shows his neck, revealing a bite and saying he is sure it is a dragon. Genzo and Shigure head to investigate the scene, and Shigure smells the same dragon she smelled at home. Genzo then gets back and takes his animal mask and heads into town using a cage and pet food to trap her. As soon as he sets the trap, she gets caught in it. He wants to ask her something, but at that moment villagers see them and call him a pervert as he is naked and puts on a mask. After escaping from the villagers, Carmilla comes telling him to get away from Hanako. But while she keeps talking, Genzo and Hanako start throwing rocks at her. She then jumps and attacks Genzo, but he ends up defeating her.
いつ俺の名は獣アマスク俺に敗北の2文字人をよこせ囲め
At their house, he takes off his mask and Hanako is surprised that the man is Genzo. Hanako then decides to tell him everything and starts saying her real name is Linda Bulia. Hanako explains she was from the Fafnir family. Learning that the Fafnir family is one of the 4 that served the Demon King, Shigure doesn't want to hear and know anything about Hanako. At that moment, Carmilla appears. She wonders where the masked person who defeated her is. But Hanako explains that they have nothing to do with this and she will return to the castle. Carmilla explains she needs to kill the humans as the information about the Fafnir family is top secret. Shigure then quickly gives Genzo holy water and tells her to use it against Carmilla. As he splashes it on her face, she falls to the ground in pain. Shigure then gives Genzo garlic to put in Carmilla's mouth. But then Hanako interrupts them, asking if they can forgive Carmilla, and explains she is her servant who just was trying to return her home. Genzo asks Hanako why she ran. Hanako explains she wants to taste better food. She then tells Genzo she decides to help with the pet shop as she could be close to Hirayuki. Shigure tells her they still haven't started it, so they can't afford to hire someone, but Hanako explains she doesn't need money as long as she has where to stay and has food. Later, they learn that Carmilla is the one attacking the people. At that moment, Genzo goes behind her and goes for a German suplex, knocking her out. Thank you so much for staying on this channel and watching our videos. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep you up to date with our latest content. See you in the next video.